Hey, I don't know what to say. I've been sitting here looking at the camera, looking at the screen, and just wondering. Um, I did a journal from a page that I wrote the other day, and it was pretty funny. I had kind of forgotten the process that I go through when I do a journal because it's the two files. The one that goes up, that's the video on YouTube, and then I do a text file on Scribe and I cross-link them. And I also keep a spreadsheet record, just the very basics, the date and the title and the two links and when it was posted, that kind of thing. I started that when I had a video that was in 5 parts called Are You Awake? And I went to search for it on YouTube and it wasn't there. I couldn't find it. I put in the title, I put in the tags, I put in the different things, uh, but I didn't have the link, so I couldn't search for it specifically. Now, for whatever reason, it wasn't available. It became available later. But after that, I decided, hey, I don't want to feel like that again. So I just have a basic index of my stuff. And it's kind of funny, you get in a habit stream, a way of doing things. And if I was to do a flow chart of the whole process, there are probably 20 or 30 steps. It's kind of surprising because, once you do the video, then I convert it to MP4 and do the upload into Tube Mogul, and then it goes out. There's a lot of steps involved, and it's kind of funny. You get in the habit of doing something, and you don't realize how complex it is until you quit for a month and then try to go back to it. Well, I'm back, I think. Who am I is ever the question, right? I was pondering, how can you be yourself if you don't know who yourself is or even what? Be yourself. Yeah, right. I guess that's the goal, huh? Anyway, here I am. So just open the mouth and let rip. Been making jewelry, as I promised. The stuff that you'll see me wearing is stuff that I've made. A little bit of jade and crystals. I have been having a blast with this. Just tremendous fun. And using magnets to clasp them together, and for health reasons too. I've been attaching magnets to crystals for fun. Using it in the water, just doing different things, wherever spirit leads. Okay, so I've been gone a while. Who am I? Let's find out together. I'm not too worried about that. It is what it is. Whatever I am, that's what I am. And it really doesn't matter, does it? I mean, everybody has an I am. It's kind of funny in a way, this I, we all say I to mean the self. And if you look at that, it's the same name. We all are I. And so there's the one, I. It's kind of neat, fun to muse upon, and the way it points up, the I. What's here in 3D? It's just an image, a fractal. It's a hologram. And I've got a sneaking suspicion it's a big joke and that it's all very funny. I can't prove that at this point, but I've had a few good laughs, enough to make me highly suspicious that we're all going to be rip-roaring with laughter as we take the next step, as we transcend into 5D, 6D, wherever we're going. Who knows? Some may wind up 7 and 8D. The thing is not linear, folks. You know, it's not like grade school where it goes 1 to 12. And so when the transition happens, wherever your consciousness is resonant, that's where you wind up. And if you're resonant with a higher dimension than the fifth, then you'll be on a higher dimension than the fifth. Now, I'm one of those that believes we pretty much occupy the fourth dimension already. I mean, not totally. We've had our senses snipped. When our DNA was cut back from 12 to 2 strands, there's a lot of the frequency spectrum, audible, visible, etc., and sensible, that we're not perceiving now, that mankind once did perceive. And so, you know, we're in a little box here, and we're breaking out of that box, right, left, and center. It's a joy and a delight to watch. And the signs of it are things breaking down. You know, the control structures are very shaggy and kind of falling apart, cracking at the seams. We just can't be held down and held back anymore. And anything that has no integrity in the structure of it is going down. It just is. As the light enters integrity, heart, love, the truth, these kind of things are what survives, and the rest is just burned off as the dross that it well and truly is. Now, toward the end of my retreat, my friend is gone, by the way. She left, I guess, last week, maybe 5 days ago. I'm not real good about time. But she headed back home, so we had a good long visit. I guess it was about 10 weeks, 8 or 10 weeks. I don't know. Neither one of us remember the date or day that she arrived. It's pretty funny. Does it matter? I mean, date, day, time, clock. There's no clocks on these walls. I'm so disconnected from it that you know, it's fun to sleep when you feel like sleeping, awake when you feel like waking, eat when you feel like eating, and just let yourself be like that. It's fun. It's different. Okay, so during a retreat, we go within. This has been a real retreat for me. And it wasn't just with my friend arriving, although that was convenient. It's very strange when you're a hermit to have somebody living with you. Now, keep in mind, this is an old friend from 30, 35 years back. We've lived together off and on a couple times before as roommates. So she's a single mom. I'm a single mom. And it's interesting the way our paths have intersected. But she wasn't the reason for my retreat, though she formed a big part of it. She helped me a lot here. She really is a strong and powerful woman. And, you know, it's those of you who are in frail health will know what I mean when we stand back and admire someone who is strong and they think nothing of it. It's no big deal to run the vacuum. Oh my God, you know, they don't know what it's like to have major challenges with such things. And so it was a joy and a delight. I hired her for a little cleaning, and she did some more just for love. And oh my goodness, she's a great cook. I've gained 12, 15 pounds. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so um, I had a really interesting thing happen. Mm, just a week or two ago. If you've been listening to my blog very long, you know I work with a healer, a distance healer, a medical intuitive. His name is Ken, and he lives in Bozeman, Montana, and he's very good at what he does. And so we've been working together for a couple of years. Every 2 weeks, he does a distance treatment on me and then gives me a call and a phone consult. And so I share with him what my 2 weeks has been like and any concerns or questions or anything. If I've changed in my diet or my herbs and pills and things, anything. And then he shares with me. And he's been tremendously helpful, largely in giving me, how do I say, I'm stronger in my intuition now because he reflects things back to me in such a way that I realize, oh my God, these feelings that I have, they're right on. And so any number of ways he's helped me, but that's been a big one. I didn't think until just a few minutes ago that I would be sharing this with you, but I had a whopper, a real doozy of a call. Not this last time, but the time before. He told me that I was finished, that my soul mission or plan was complete, and that I was betwixt and between. He said, you're past tense. You're over. You're done. He said, you're walking between the worlds. You're not really there. And he said, you've got a decision to make. Do you want to go or do you want to stay? In embodiment. In other words, do I want to lay the body down and just go? And it was a real shock. Stunning. News like that, I can't even tell you. It was so stunning. I still haven't completely integrated it, even though it's like 3 weeks ago now. But what he said was that if I wanted to stay, I needed to make a really concerted decision, intent, and effort to do so. And when he learned that my friend was still here with me, she was getting ready to leave the next day or two, and he knows her. Actually, she's the one that introduced me to him. And he asked her to stay. He told her I was in, it was like I wasn't here. He said you could trip and break your neck. You could walk outside and a deer could crash into you and kill you. You could have a wreck. Anything could happen. He said you're not really here. And time is for you to go. So it's decision time. Get with it. And he asked Wendy to stay and be there for me. Kind of be my guardian angel for a little bit. I was certainly more than surprised by all of this. Surprised isn't a big enough word. And it's funny too, doggone it, because folks, we know things on the inner, in heart, in our higher dimensional self, and you have one. I have one. We all exist fully cognizant, competent, and present in 5D right now. In 6, 7, whatever, we're there. And so on some level, I know that I knew, but anyway, the 3D self was very surprised. And I was also surprised that I apparently hadn't made a decision. He said I had to decide. And it's funny, once upon a time, that's all I wanted, was to be on the other side. I missed my friends. I didn't like it that I couldn't see or hug an angel. I couldn't have a conversation with the master, with an ascended being, with the deva. Um, I didn't like having my wings clipped, being here in 3D. And that's the situation for pretty much all of us now. I expect there are some sandbaggers here who have those full senses but don't reveal it so much. And that's fine, you know. We're all going to be very, very surprised, my friends, as we wake up to the reality of who and what we are, the divine beings that we are. We're all that. But anyway, meanwhile, we don't know these things, and so it's fun to wake up a bit at a time. And we're doing it together, and there's a real joyful flow in that, which I appreciate. Okay, so where am I here? I decided to stay, by the way. I would have loved nothing more. I spent decades of my life, actually, I didn't realize it at the time, but being bitter, angry and resentful over being stuck in a body. I haven't gone to very many psychics in my life. It's really not too much my thing. But there's a lady in Arkansas that I used to go to her meetings. Carol Pate is her name, and you know, she's a real psychic. She works with the police and that kind of thing. She's got a pretty good record. And so I decided to have a reading one time, a private reading. So I went in with my questions written out, and you might know my questions proved irrelevant to the session, to what was said. But that's where I had it revealed to me that not only was I bitter and resentful in this lifetime, but that's something that I had carried with me over a number of lifetimes. That was a huge shock to me. I didn't know that about myself. I didn't recognize it. Others could see it, perhaps. Certainly the psychic could see it. But it took some time, first just sitting with it and accepting that it could be, and then wrapping my arms around it and saying, okay, if this is what is, then I want to know it. I want to own it. How can we grow if we don't own what is? All right. That was very helpful. Over a period of 2 or 3 years, there was a real boost in progress for my soul by just seeing that. Seeing is doing. Seeing is doing. Our vision is critical. What do we let ourselves see? What do we accept? What are we willing to see, willing to accept? All right, so I wanted nothing more than to be gone, to be on the other side then. But over those 2 or 3 years, that was the start of really accepting my incarnation and learning to be deeply, sincerely joyful to be present here. You know, I had to wake up to some things, so I did. So anyway, I'm going on and on here, but whatever. I slept on it. It felt very strange. You know, it took about 48 hours after this reading that I got from Ken, after this news that I was finished if I wanted to go. I've got to say it's a tremendous honor to receive such news. It's something that rarely happens that I know of for people. And I'm so deeply grateful. And it couldn't have been an easy reading for him to give either. because you know how it is. Most psychics have an ethic about telling people you're going to die. And generally, they choose not to do it. It can upset people tremendously. It can be devastating. They can make crazy decisions and so on and so on. And so a lot of times, even if someone is aware of something like that, it doesn't get shared with you. And so it's just an honor, and I'm really deeply grateful. And so what you're looking at here is what amounts to a new lifetime, a new divine plan, a new being. In this, so it was 3 weeks ago that I got that news that I could go if I wanted to. And I just spoke with Ken again last night, I guess, night before, something like that. And so I asked him some questions about it. And I forgot what I was going to share there. Oh, I told him I'd been feeling really awkward and kind of uncomfortable, not in my body so much, but in my being. And I couldn't pin it down. I couldn't figure out what was feeling kind of out of place, out of whack. And I was so tickled to hear his answer. He said, "You're brand new. Nothing will fit quite the same. You're basically in a new life. So, join me. I'm inviting you to come along for this wild ride. Enter heart, be in heart." He says I have new gifts and graces. It's funny, I don't know what they are. And I didn't ask. My friend always wonders why I don't pin people down with, detailed, factual questions. I just don't tend to go there. But anyway, let's find out together what they are, what I have to offer. There's only one reason for staying, and that's to serve, and that's to shine, and that's to be light. We're all here for that. We're here for ourselves, sure, but we're here for one another. You are my other self. You are the fullness of me. I want us all to rise. All of us. Even the quote-unquote bad guys. They're us too. And we have a ways to go before we can recognize that. They have some waking up to do. And I do want them to get a very good, hefty dose of what they've been dishing out, because that's what it's going to take to wake them up. They're going to have to be on the receiving end of the imprisonments and the torture and the energy that they're sending forth. And in a way, it's unfortunate. I wouldn't wish what we as humanity have gone through on anyone, on any being, anywhere in cosmos. It's been horrible. Living in 3D is no picnic, and we're pretty darn tough. We're pretty good at putting one foot in front of the other, but we've got a lot of pain, really, really deep pain under there for what we've endured. It's so far away from the heart and soul of us, from our very nature, which is love. But we've got it to do. It is what it is. And all of this is aspects of our very own being, and we've got to quit rejecting it until we can accept it, allow it to be. That's the first thing. Just allow it to be. Give it the right to be. And then after that can come the wrapping the arms around, the love, the welcoming, the deeper acceptance. As we do this, my friends, we will heal, we will rise, we will ascend. Let's do it together. See you again soon.